Okay, so you're going to be making a podcast, a 3-minute podcast. To start off with, I'm not going to do any of the biomes that you've done. A biome is an area of the world in which organisms live in an ecosystem, such as desert, tundra, savanna, whatever. All right, I'm going to do Mars. All right, now the whole point of this is it's not related to what you guys are doing, so I'm not actually helping any group, but you'll be able to see what's going on. So I'm going to start my podcast in a moment, my 3-minute podcast. And I'm going to go through the different steps of what I want you to do, or the different things I want you to cover. But I'm not going to. I'm then going to go through and check out my results afterwards to see if I've actually done very well. So to start off with, you guys are going to do all the research beforehand, and then on Friday, I want you to come in and do your podcast. All right. So I'm just going to start my podcast now. So this is Mars. Mars is a desert area. There is it's to talk about what makes this biome unique. It's very dry, not very much water at all, not much rain. Has been rain in the past, but very dry, very rocky, very sandy. Weather conditions is it can have great big storms. You can have a lot of the dust is blown up, so therefore it makes it difficult for animals to survive unless they can survive the storms. To talk about what plants and animals live in this biome, there is very little plant life that lives here. Move on to the next slide. So let's just say this is what lives on Mars. So plant life has to be able to grow very tall to be able to get to the sun, but also to grab as much water as possible. There's not much leaf on here because there's not much rain, and it seeds by throwing away its seeds like little parachutes. This isn't some form of animal that lives on Mars. These animals survive by eating the seeds when they're blown up into the air, and then there's a predator which comes along and eats these animals. So I've done a food chain there. What natural forces could kill the creatures in this biome? Well, the desert storms, which you can see in the background, these come through and they can suffocate the animals. So what the animals do in this one is they actually quickly dig a hole and they bury themselves with just this part of their head showing, and they shut their eyes. And then so they can feel the wind, but it's quite strong bony structure. So that means it's not actually hurt by the wind. If they think it's finished, they can open their eyes and look around and go, oh yeah, it's fine. Okay, and then they dig themselves back out again. Right? So that's a natural force that could kill the biome. However, man-made, well, let's say that humans are trying to terraform Mars, so we're actually putting lots of smog into the atmosphere, or they're trying to create a new atmosphere. Right, so we're heating up the planet and creating an atmosphere. All right, and this smog is basically stopping the wind. It stops the pollination of the plants, and it stops it prevents the animals from being able to go through their normal routine. Okay, and finish. So there's my podcast, and that went for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, finished recording my podcast. Let's have a look to see how I've gone. Did I talk about what makes this biome unique? I did. Not very good detail. Weather conditions, I did. Plants and animals, I was very vague on, so I probably could have done that a bit better. An example of a food chain, I didn't draw a picture. I didn't have any kind of explanation. It was just the plant, the animal, and what could potentially be a predator, so that wasn't very good. Natural forces could kill this. I've talked about the storms, which is fine. How's mankind threatening this biome? I mentioned briefly about the terraforming. How will I present it? Okay, so I present it. Notice the fact that one of the problems was I was the only person that presented it. My other teammates didn't get on board and help out, so therefore I would lose marks there. So final marks. All information presented is clearly researched. Well, yes, it was kind of vague. I didn't actually put in any references. It didn't really seem like I'd done any background research. It just looked like I made it up on the spot, which is exactly what I did. So I would probably be in the there was no evidence of a background because there was no research. Presentation seems made up on the spot. Information is of a generally good standard, but I could have put notes on there like in a PowerPoint or written on a page in a Word document or anything like that. So probably I would get there maybe a 2, maybe a 3. So not very good. Presentation. I've presented it in a vodcast because you were watching it. Goes for exactly 3 minutes. No, because I only went for 2 minutes 20. So it goes for under or over 3 minutes. No, substantially under. It was less. It was only 2 minutes 20, so I was 40 seconds under. So I would get this. Okay. Quality that would attract people in visual. Well, it was okay. So probably about a 2 or a 3 for that part. Content presents all relevant with no off-topic content. Well, I'm talking off-topic now, but so it was not too bad. Missing some information required. Well, I think I covered everything, but not fantastically well. And generally good all-round content. Yes, okay. So probably for that one, let's say I'd get probably about a 3. Presentation flows really well with no stoppages from the start. Well, there was some stoppage, and sometimes I wasn't sure what I was doing. Maybe about here. A voice is clear. I think that my voice is fairly clear and the points are well presented. Well, the voice is clear, but I might not have presented the points very well. Beginning and end present, but does not flow well. Was there a beginning, an introduction, and a finish? Not really. So overall, I'll probably only get a 3, and then I would get for this last one a mark for I'd tick this to say which one you've done and whether or not you've covered it in detail.